You're very welcome back. Now, we had a huge response to our biggest fan competition, as we were saying before the break. And now we have our Galway winner with us, Julie Camartin. Julie, cóhortachas. Tell us why you're Galway's biggest fan.
I suppose, Grania, I'm only one of many. There's so many of them going to be in Croke Park tomorrow, not to mention all the people throughout the whole world, San Francisco, across the world. I'd say the whole world will be nearly Galway tomorrow.
Let's see the proof of why you're Galway's biggest fan, and travel is a theme.
Absolutely it is. So we have travelled quite a bit throughout the years from various
Las Vegas, that's the White House, isn't it? Were you there?
We were in the
It's
White
going
House.
so fast,
That's
Julie.
Croatia.
Can't keep it up.
Oh God, we were all over the place. That's actually Italy 2 weeks ago. We were in Rome and we said a few prayers. Hopefully they'll come through tomorrow.
We lit a few candles.
We did. We even got up to Alaska there about 3 or 4 weeks ago with the flag. But everywhere we go, Grania, we take the flag with us. We are Galway and we're truly Galwegians. And it's great to get a chance to be here and to be in Croke Park tomorrow. And with the help of God, we'll make a little bit of history, and hopefully maybe Waterford won't mind if we take this one tomorrow. Hopefully.
I think they might mind, Julie. I think they might. You're going to have a great weekend now, obviously.
We are
You're staying in a Clayton hotel.
We are.
And you're going to the match tomorrow, and these are your tickets.
Well, fantastic, and that is absolutely brilliant.
And they're thanks to GAA Go, which I have to say I find brilliant for keeping up with the action when I'm away, and I am away sometimes. So for more on that, just visit gaago.ie. Des.
All right, well now, it's not just older people. There's lots of young people love the GAA and love their games, and representing one of those is Waterford's biggest fan. I'd like you to meet Abby Fitzpatrick. Look at Abby, she's 10 years of age. And Abby, every young boy and every young girl is excited in the county at home. Have you been nervous all week for Waterford?
Yeah.
Yeah. Making the video, there's one name kept coming up in your video. An old Waterford player. Whose name was that?
John Milan.
John Milan. Let me show you the video, and yeah, you'll understand what I mean.
I'm Abby Fitzpatrick, and I'm 10 years old, and I'm Waterford's biggest fan. I love Smee County, and I'd love to meet John Milan. I love Smee County, but I'd love to meet John Milan. I love Smee County, but I'd love to meet John Milan. I love Smee County, and I'd love to meet John Milan.
And you're a camogie player as well, obviously, yeah. And your dad, Jay, played in that Waterford minor team 25 years ago. And John Milan. What is it with John Milan? Why does everyone love John Milan?
He's really good. He's a really good player, and he never stopped trying.
He never stopped trying, that's for sure. Well, I'm asking him to try one more thing before he goes home, because he's to be in bed early. John Milan, where are you? Have you got something for Abby?
Oh my God! Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, appreciate it. That was pretty cool. There's tickets there. Enjoy it. Have a great time. It was lovely to meet you, Abby.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you.
That was lovely. And if you think you're the biggest Dublin or Mayo fan and you're dying to get to the Football All-Ireland final courtesy of GAA Go, we'd love to hear from you. Get out, get filming, and send your video entries in to biggestfan@rte.ie. OK, we've got more music now, more fabulous music. Formed in Waterford in 1995, Danu have become one of Ireland's greatest trad bands. Tonight, we have Benny McCarthy, who's brought together all the Waterford band members, past and present, to form this Geisha supergroup, we're calling it. Performing the Viesa Law Bortloidige, the Road to Ballymac, and maybe, timely enough, the Reconciliation Reel. Please, give it up for Danu.
It's a love or darling. Baby, I'm sleep by that. Baby, this concert bottom. Baby, I'm sleep by that. Belong and see the love. Baby, I'm sleep by that. That's a fish and go to slide that. Baby, I'm sleep by that. Daily fan or on. I'll do all day, but I will not. But throw him the door. I'll do all day, but I will not. Jumpa there for the bridle up. They go to take the car. Jumpa there for the bridle up. With Burren, Jimmy Carrick. Jumpa there for the bridle up.
Great performance. And the wonderful dancer. As a wonderful dancer, I can appreciate that was brilliant. You can check out danu.net for all their upcoming gigs. Now, the audience are going to love our next guests.
They sure are. Meet Waterford's top scorer of all time, Paul Flynn.
And two of Galway's most famous half-back line from the glory days of the 80s, Jerry McInerney and Pete Finnerty.
Says Joe.
Oh, you're very welcome, lads.
Thanks, Ed.
Very schnazzy,
They're schnazzy.
aren't they?
There.
Paul, you had some great days down through the years at Waterford.
Oh.
You did. If you're top scorer of all time.
We did, Grania. I suppose we were lucky enough to have a lot of characters on the team, as you just heard one of them there for the last half hour.
It only seemed like that.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, we played in an era when, I suppose, not too long ago, but there was no helmets, and I suppose we're recognised as being, you know, people saw your emotions on the pitch, and you know, saw how you reacted to a score or a miss, and
It's a good point, actually. Yeah.
And you know, we were lucky enough also in Munster that Thurles was full most of the time, and I remember Dan, John and Owen came, the GPA rep, back in 07 or 08 when the GA were bringing in the helmets, compulsory helmets, and the lads were having none of it, you know, because they wouldn't be able to kiss the jersey after scoring a goal.
Or kiss anything else. Well, you were fans of these guys growing up, weren't you?
But how could you not be?
Yeah.
You know, without, you know, you meet your heroes in the GA world. You know, I'm lucky enough to have not alone these two lads, but most of that Galway team, Noel Lane, Éanna Ryan, Martin Nocton, the great Tony Keeley. You know, like they were just, when hurling was hard, you know, really, really hard. And you see some of the videos from the late 80s, and there was no referee. You know, you see, you see the incidents, the rough and the tumble, and you know the characters that the lads had as well, apart from the two boys, and you know, just pure hard hurling. And you know, Tipperary came along, and the lads will talk, I'm sure, about their love for Tipperary now in a few minutes. And but no, like, I mean, it's for Waterford to be now considered among those kind of top counties, because when I was growing up, unfortunately for me and lads like me in Waterford, there was the Cork players and the Tipperary players, and the two lads here, like, they were the guys we were admiring. And luckily enough for the young Waterford lads at home at the moment, it's Austin Gleeson and so on. And, you know, that will grow for Waterford, be it tomorrow, be it next year, but we're here to stay, you know, that's the message.
But when, I mean, Jerry, you have spoken to me before, but like Jerry commuted. I mean, it was kind of you worked in New York in the winter, basically. You came back for the hurling in the summer. There was time of no work back then, was it?
Yeah, it was. I suppose it was hard. I suppose it was hard times, all right, but it wasn't really hard in a way. But you just, the money wasn't there. As you get older, you wanted a few pound more, like. So I was wondering where the work was. You know, the work was in America at that time. So we thought it was an awful long way away, but it wasn't really. You know, it's Australia now. You know, it's a long work, but
And would you have a strict training regime while you were over there, or were you just fit from the work?
Yeah, in Galway Park that time, you know, there was a lot of, say we're just talking about tip there. There was a lot of tip, you know, when we played tip out there, you had a lot of the county players out there that came off the tip team, Rav Callan, Ian Conroy, Liam Berger, and there was a lot of the lads there, so we used to have it hot and heavy. It's a smaller field, but you know, there was no helmets or whatever, but it was just
hot and heavy.
Hot and heavy.
There was a lot said there and nothing said there.
No, but it was a hot day anyway. But, you know.
Well, we saw the results of the hot days when you came back, because I don't know if everybody remembers, but there was the tan, there was the hair, of course, and then the famous boots, and yet you never chased the limelight, even though everybody was killed looking at you.
I left that to Tony. Yeah, but I used to watch a lot of Miami Vice that time. So.
Was that it?
I said I'd give it a shot. Right?
Pete was telling me, though, Jerry, that, like, you know, he had the flashy boots and the hairstyle and all, but you said he wasn't flashy doing the television interviews.
No, not good at all. Ger Canning, I think he started off 1987, was it all? You got man of the match, is it? Yeah, 1987, man of the match is Jerry McInerney and big cheer. Jerry, you must be delighted to come back from America, don't you know, and having only played 2 games and having played no league match, and, you know, to get man of the match ahead of Joe Cooney and Tony Keeley and whoever else. Jerry was waiting for a big answer. Yeah, thanks. And that's about as good as it got. You know? And then he turned to one stage and he says, Conor, could you help me out here? You want Conor to say the speech? Remember that? No, he wasn't good at interviews, but he's good on the field now, in fairness to him, yeah.
He certainly was, no question about that. Paul, the All-Ireland weekend, Grania and I were just talking about that, like, this is a great buzz and all, but...
And it's such a privilege to be a part of it, to be the 2 counties that are up there.
But for the players, the night before...
Well, I suppose there's only 2 teams will play tomorrow, and, like, I mean, everyone will have the perception, I suppose, Des, that it'll be nice and calm in the hotel and things will go off nicely. And, like, I mean, with the lads, you either travel up the night before or stay up. But, like, I mean, there'll be fellas sleeping in bats tonight in hotels. There'll be lads bring their own pillows. You know, some lads won't like the food they get.
Yeah.
Why would they be in baths?
Well, yes, I'm glad you asked that one.
Well, I suppose if your designated teammate is snoring his head off and you have to get out of bed, and, you know, I remember the All-Ireland semi-final in whatever year it was, one of the years we were bet, could be any year, and Seamus Prendergast slept in a bat, Brian Flannery slept in a bat, Paul Kelly, our hurley carrier, was tired the following morning. He couldn't sleep because Roger Casey was snoring. So all this kind of stuff goes on. But, like, I mean, like in 08, I suppose, we were kind of like rednecks up to Dublin for the All-Ireland semi-final. And, you know, do you watch up for the match? Do you not watch it? And, like, how it went in 08, we should have come in and enjoyed the crack, really. And you know, but, you know, we should have had a few looseners, you know, and kind of things might have went better. But, you know, the way things are gone nowadays, the preparation will be down to a T. You know, the lads will get their timetable last week, you know, be in the Granville Hotel, bus leaves, dinner's at this, dinner's this, what's your menu? And as I was chatting earlier to Anthony Cunningham, like, you know, we're talking about the chicken and pasta thing, about the carbs and the slow release and all this. And we used to hate, you know, boiled chicken and pasta.
Yeah.
And we'd go up to the room then and we'd have Mars bars. And you'd be wondering why you'd be knackered then the following day.
Jerry, this is a very big night for you tonight, and it's a different preparation for an All-Ireland final as well, isn't it?
You're not hanging around here tonight.
Every night is a big night for me.
He's still channeling the Miami voice.
Tomorrow's a big day, that's right, man. Yeah,
But you're going home tonight. You're going
we're
back
going
to
back
Galway.
down, yeah. We're going back down again, yeah.
And why are you going back down?
Sure, just routine, you know. It's like, you know.
It doesn't have anything to do with garage by any chance,
I
does
don't know,
it?
just we're around the place. So routine all year, so we'll just keep it the same, you know. So look at why change it. Do you know, so look, you know, keep the shows, no big deal. Like, you know, it's a match, and they have to play a match, so it's a big match, but they have to play it and do their own thing. You know.
No more than Paul Moran, you have to sit there and go through it all with Garrod playing tomorrow. That'll be no bother to you. You'll be...
Harry, yeah, because they know they're doing it all year, you know. So I know it's one of the biggest days, but sure, that's what you play for, that's what you train for, and that's where you want to be, and you know, hopefully it'll go well.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, we wish him well.
Yeah, thanks a million.
There's no denying that in Galway, in Ireland, there was a cloud over this year's final because of the passing of the late, great Tony Keeley. Remember the greatest half-back line I ever saw playing. And, of course, Jerry and Pete, two of the other members of that back line. So we're going to remember the great man now. And we're delighted to have Tony's family here in the audience with his children, Shannon, Anthony, Jake and Harry, and his wife, Margaret. So you're very welcome. Thanks for coming along. You're very welcome. They were up in Dublin for the match anyway, and rather than watch it in the hotel, Pete says, come on in, and we're delighted to have them here. So first, let's take a moment to remember the great man.
This is really around this little area here how it started for me.
So an enterprising start. This is Tony Keeley.
My first start for Galway really in championship was in '85.
Look at that half-back line. Peter Finnerty, Tony Keeley and Tony Kilkenny. Tony Keeley.
He came to me as a young lad days and like brilliant hurler, brilliant player, and the bigger the occasion the better he played. He believed like if there was 70,000 in Croke Park, they came to see him playing and he said, this is what we're training for, you know what I mean?
Like I've got a lot of rewards out of hurling, and I've played with some great men. I've played against some great fellas, but at the end of the day, sport is sport, and I enjoyed every bit of it.
That's a lovely piece. I think you'd agree. It captures what Tony was like. What are your big memories of playing with him, Pete?
I have so many memories. I knew him for 40 years. I played against him, we'll say, when we were under 13, under 14. I think the first time we played together was with the Galway under 14s, then under 16, and then we played vocational schools, won 2 All-Irelands together. We played minor, we lost, we won an under 21, and then we played senior together. You know, we've been together side by side for a long, long time. You know, he was an incredible person. You know, he was an incredible hurler. He was a great character. He was just unbelievable. He was up here 2 years ago. Maybe he gave him the man of the match. He showed it earlier on. And ironically, the day of Tony's burial, I was at home and I wasn't in great form, you know. And I said, I'll turn on the radio now, and I just listened to something else, you know, get away for a while. And of course, who was on the radio? Only Keeley. Yeah, had to be on the radio. And it was the 2FM show, and they were getting ready for the Waterford and Cork game, and they were talking about that. And then they were talking about the start of, well, I think it doesn't matter, start the Premiership, Mickey Mouse game. And they were talking about that, and then the next thing they were saying that they couldn't let it go without mentioning Tony. And they said that he'd been buried today in Ordenmore. And then they said how he got the award here, and he was on the 2FM show in the morning. And he was interviewed, and he was asked, you know, Tony, you got your award last night after 27 years? And he said, I did, yeah. And he says, did you not feel guilty that you weren't there to collect it on the night, you know? And he says, not really, he says, sure, it wasn't my fault. And he says, Tony, you didn't turn up, like, whose fault was it? He says, it was your fault, RT's fault. And how could it be RT's fault? He said it was because I looked at that tape again of that match. He says, I should have got that award at half-time.
Will you take a look at it? Look at
Shows it there.
it. We're going to look at that presentation to Tony now, because I'll never forget the moment.
But just to
It was a
remind
very
people,
proud one.
Tony and Brendan Linsky were missing somewhere, having a couple of pints somewhere, but the lads are getting there. And he was presented with his man of the match. Was it 25 years later here or whatever it was?
Right here in the studio.
But the great Tony Keeley there was the man of the match in the 1988 All-Ireland final. Seeing as how Tony managed to make it this time, we've decided to make a little presentation to him. So go on, you might make me that. So now, Grania has, 24 years later, the Man of the Match award.
On behalf of Up to the Match.
Your memories of Tony, Jerry?
Sure, we had great old times altogether. You know, they were nearly too good, but they were good. We didn't realise it. You know. But I don't know, he's a great character, and it was all a bit of fun. Like, you know, you'd never have to watch the middle with him either. You just do your own thing. And we've probably in 87, 88 when we really wanted to win it. I suppose, like it's a bit like now, really. I suppose we lost a few, and our time had come. We thought, you know, we didn't want to be beaten. You know, we didn't want to be. But we felt the line very strong. You know, we had a great team as well, like around us. You know, we might get a lot of praise as well, but by Jesus, we had, you know, the team around us was, you know, you have to do it with the, you have to have the team, you know. But no, he was a great character, and he'd always have a laugh. Like, you know, he'd have great stories, like, you know, and they might be small, but he'd make a job of them. You know, I remember one story. I think we were out, Pete. Remember out in Boston.
Oh yeah.
I think it was very interesting. You know, we went down to Kilkenny one time, and I think I drove down, and Tony came with us, and we just had a pint or two afterwards with an old Raby Cup. So we met Chunky O'Brien, you know, Chunky.
Kenny, yeah.
And we had a bit of crack and went around. Just we didn't realise there was many pubs in it, but we had a few pints. But we, on our way back, anyways, you know, we were going the wrong way. We were heading to Dublin. But there was an old squad after us, like, but it just brought us back and showed us the way home. He knew Linsky, by the way. That was back then, nowadays. That's the long time. You mightn't like to hear it on air.
You can imagine how proud Tony would have been last weekend when his daughter Shannon won an All-Ireland Under-16A championship with Galway. Shannon, congratulations. And you won the final quite convincingly.
We did, yeah. Like, it was just a brilliant match. Like, I couldn't get over it. Like, I had worked so hard all year, and as a team, like, we had trained so hard, and literally, like, from a young age, all I wanted to do was play for Galway. I just wanted to follow Dad's footsteps and just make him so proud, and I was just so delighted we got to do it. And I'm still in shock, like, and we haven't even stopped celebrating yet, so it was just brilliant.
Fantastic,
Shannon. And there could be a couple of more medals with the young lads sitting alongside there, those cheeky fellas there.
They certainly have it in them anyway.
They gave me a lot of stick about the suits. They weren't happy.
And we're sure that Tony's going to be smiling down on Galway tomorrow as well. So we want to give our special thanks to the Keedies for joining us tonight. They're leading the market.
All right. And our thanks to the lads. Thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy tomorrow. Best of luck tomorrow. We've loads more to come, and we'll see you after this break. All right, now we have many special people, a very special audience, but there's two people I think are the most special people in the room, if I'm allowed to say that, for one reason. These two fantastic gentlemen were on the last Waterford team that won back in 1959, Larry Guinan and Martin Morrissey. Honestly, I'm thrilled that you're here. What was it like? Was the hype and the build-up the same back then, Larry?
Oh, God, it was those, yes. It was frightening.
You were a young fella when you played your first one.
I was only a chap, sure.
What age were you?
19. One of my first times visiting Croke Park, actually. And
you were playing?
I was playing, and I was petrified. But we got over it. When we went out on the field, everything was forgotten, and we got on with the game.
What was the game like, Martin?
1959?
Yeah.
I suppose the first day we threw it away, we had 18 scores to 10, which meant that we were a far better team than what Kilkenny were on that day.
But it ended in a draw, yeah.
Yeah, they got us a couple of soft goals, you know, so the replay then, we tightened up in the defence and ran out fairly handy winners in the end.
We've pictures of it here. We can have a look at it. And in fairness, they're in colour, lads. It costs us more, but look at that. So this is... I was pleasantly surprised. So the parade, and look at everyone's in for the throw in there. What position were you playing, Larry?
Going forward, yeah.
Going forward. And when you see the crowd there, look on the hill, and the young fellas from Waterford, some of the pictures, they're great pictures, aren't they? Do you look back at this at all? No? Would you see these pictures much? Or
no,
often?
I haven't, Des. No, I actually have the video at home. Would you believe it? I never looked at it.
Did you not?
No, I didn't.
I did, yeah, I saw him a few times. Chaps that I know that I had him, bring him in and say, "Did you see that?" And you know, just put it in on the television, have a look at it. Enjoy it.
Would you be happy now for the young lads to come along and take your place as the last men to win from Waterford?
Oh, I hope to God they do win tomorrow.
We're waiting a long time now. There's not too many of us left by, and before we're all gone, we want to see him, and we're going to do it tomorrow.
Martin, did you have a baby just before?
I did.
The final.
That's him alongside you there.
This fella here. He's some big baby now. This is Eamon. Hi, How are you?
He was born that Tuesday.
When you see Eamon, look at cute little Eamon in the cup. And you'd no beard there, Eamon. Look.
No. Yeah, you wouldn't fit him in it now.
Oh, look at that's a beautiful Larry. That's a replica of the McCarthy Cup. That's beautiful. Where'd you get that?
Oh, I got that from a Kilkenny fella, believe it or not.
It's about the only thing they ever gave you.
It's a long time. It's a long time before you'll see it again, I said.
I can imagine. Well, after the lads waiting so long to get here, can't you just imagine the excitement in Waterford?
Up to Nation!
My name is Noelle Dawson. I was in Croke Park in 1948 when Waterford won their first All-Ireland.
Yes, they came from all over Ireland to see the title game between Waterford and Dublin.
We all rushed out onto the field anyway. Some people went to tear pieces off the jerseys of the players to get them as souvenirs. We had reached our dream. There'll never be another first one.
Come on, Waterford!
Come on, Waterford! Up the day show!
We're here in Ferrybank GA Club. This year it's great, the enthusiasm that's around. You can see around the pitch here the way that the kids are trying to be Austin Gleeson or Jamie Barron or whoever.
We're gonna sweep Galway! Back to the win!
The much maligned sweeper system. People say that Waterford is a defensive system, and yet Waterford scored 11 goals in the championship so far this year. Galway have only scored 2. Here in Ferrybank GA Club, we're unique. We straddle 2 counties. On this side, we're in Kilkenny, and over here, I'm back in Waterford.
For years, we've had to watch our neighbours Kilkenny winning, but now it's our time to shine.
I lost my county, boy.
Every Waterford hurler starts their morning with a fresh blah.
I've been using the sweeper system all my life. It requires commitment, focus, and dedication. It's a winning formula, and it works for us. Best of luck tomorrow, Fergal.
Thanks, Dermot.
They're having great crack in Waterford. Now let's meet our final three guests. First up, Creelthord, commentator and tribesman Sean Branach. A woman who has brought great pride to Waterford, the captain of the Irish rugby team, Niamh Briggs, and soccer legend and proud Waterford man, Jim Beglin.
How are you, darling? Not too bad. You're so welcome. Jim, lovely to see you too.
Oh, Niamh, the boot.
I know.
They both got gammy legs.
You're one to talk.
It's terrible to be perfect, Sean, isn't it? Sean, when you listen to Martin Og there and Larry talking and looking back on their day of history, it's hard even for a Galway person to begrudge Waterford, isn't it?
Oh, indeed it is. Only for it's Waterford. I mean, I'd be shouting for Waterford. In 1959, I was 10. And I had my first little scrapbook going to school. And I had 3 heroes plastered onto the scrapbook. Tom Chasty, Philly Grimes, and Frankie Walsh. And my father told us at the time that, and we were so proud, that all the Walshes, the Brannachs, came. Some of them came from Waterford, and some came from Kilkenny. But there you are. They were my heroes in 1959. You know, they were absolutely brilliant.
Jim.
Lovely.
Well, Jim, you're a soccer international from Waterford, and of course it has a tradition. But you're the De La Salle man.
Yeah.
Did you try the hurling? You played European Cup final.
I had to go at everything. I mean, you know, grew up into or came into a soccer family, but I love the Gaelic games. I played a lot of Gaelic football, and I realised pretty early that I wasn't too clever with the hurling. I had 2 Kilkenny grandfathers, so they're probably looking down on me now, thinking, you know, what went wrong. But no, I mean, really strong hurling school, De La Salle. Great, skillful, quick players. I just didn't have it. And I tried, but I couldn't match him.
He had it for Liverpool, but he didn't have it for De La Salle. I love that.
Well, yeah, it kind of worked a bit better with my legs and my feet than it did with my arms and my hands.
Well spoken by Manchester United.
But if you won something with the soccer, would it be as big in De La Salle as the hurling?
No, because, I mean, we won the All-Ireland.
In soccer?
In soccer. We went to Falcarra Community School in Donegal. Came back, and I thought they'd make a big thing of it. And we received our winning statuettes in a classroom, closed doors. Whereas I'd imagine if it was the Harty Cup now, the whole school would have been involved, and you know, would all be happening. But no, I was never good enough to even think about getting in a Harty Cup team.
Niamh, your poor thing. It was a lousy battle for you. You tried so hard to get back fit for the World Cup, and no joy.
Yeah, no, look, it was obviously, you know, bad timing, I think, if there ever was one. And, you know, it was a tough few weeks, and, you know, you get through it, and I'm incredibly proud of the girls and the effort that they put in. It obviously didn't go our way, but, you know, we'll live to battle and learn from it, and that's the most important thing.
But the frustration of, like we were talking earlier about Conor Glees, the frustration not being able to be part of it, it's tough.
Yeah, it is. You know, I think you're living every second with them when they're on the pitch. I really figured out this year that I'm not a good spectator as such, and very little nails left by the end of it. But yeah, look, it is frustrating, and it's, you know, you kind of start to think, why me, and you know what I mean. But you kind of quickly have to shift your thoughts to try and to put in as much positive energy into the squad as possible.
You're a fantastic rugby international, but you come from a very strong GAA background as well.
Yeah, growing up, it wasn't my ambition to play rugby for Ireland. It was to win an All-Ireland with Waterford in Croke Park, and you know, I got there in 2010 and wasn't on the right side of the win. But yeah, my dad is steeped in it as well. He's a man-signed man. He's chairman of our club at home in Ibyside, and my brother played and captained Waterford as well in football. So we're definitely a GAA family that's kind of fell into rugby as opposed to anything else.
That often happens.
Yeah.
SPB, I'd say it's been crack iontoch in your house for the last couple of weeks. Breach is a Jaisha woman.
She is indeed, and she's always saying she has one All-Ireland medal in the house. Nobody else has, and she won with UCC. In the late 70s in Ashburn.
Don't be putting an age on her, stop.
Yeah. But look, once the semi-finals were over, there was all vision and no sound. In the house, there was a lot of talk about how you fix the helmet on the head, how you bring it to the side, how you strap there. There's an awful lot of talk about that. No, Grania, I didn't get involved at all.
Oh, I'd say you didn't.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, I'd say you said nothing.
I didn't say a word. But there's fellas at home and girls, I tell you, they really got into her. But look, it's a great day. We probably won't talk now again tonight. The excitement. she really is very, very excited about it, but she's different to me. She's shy, you know, and all that. But look, we're looking forward to it. She thinks they'll win. I think we'll win. So what can you do?
Yeah. Jim, what makes the All-Ireland special on one level is that when a county gets there, particularly a county that isn't there often, like say Donegal, for instance, it means so much to everybody from that county. Now because you were a footballer, you were in England for many years, but you always followed the Waterford matches.
Yeah, I did. I've always had an interest in it, and family and friends are always quick to kind of tell me, because I work most Sundays, you know, across the water, and they tell me, you know, the score. So this year, I found out that Waterford had made it through Tony O'Donoghue. We have to kind of turn our mobile phones off when we're working because it interferes with it. But I had my iPad sitting there, and I was working at Old Trafford doing Man United West Ham on the opening weekend of the season. And this kind of text flashed up, and I had a look at it, and it was Tony O'Donoghue, and I thought, oh, here we go now. Corkman's going to wind me up. We've lost. And then ball went out for a throw-in, so I had another little look, and I could see congratulations. And Tony had meant, obviously, to go on and say, up the Dacia. Very gracious and been a proud Cork man. But when I read it, I looked, it said, congratulations. And predictive text had gotten away. And it said, up the Denise. So he quickly corrected it again. But no, I've always had that interest. And I mean, I've been across to see Waterford play a couple of times at Croke Park. But obviously dates and the fixtures of the Premier League and stuff interfere with...
So you're excited about tomorrow, yeah?
Hugely. I mean, that's why I'm here. You know, I as soon as I heard that through Tony that Waterford had done it, I thought, that's it. I'm coming over early. I mean, we've got the Serbia game coming up on Tuesday, which is hugely important. And essentially, I was coming over for that, but this is a bit bigger for me now.
Very good.
We're joined in the audience by a man who has, you know, a unique... the privilege and the honour, and he was so talented and good enough to play in both the senior football and hurling All-Ireland with Galway, Alan Cairns. So Alan, for you, looking at this now, you saw some of the lean days as well with Galway. What do you think of their chances tomorrow?
Yeah, I think they have a super chance. You know, they've gathered huge momentum since they actually beat Waterford in Pearse Stadium. Who knows if Waterford had beaten them that day, would they've gone on. They've gathered huge momentum since that day, and you know, I think they will do it tomorrow.
Do you?
Micheál, a club man of mine, is manager. He's a serious manager, and I think he'll have them in top shape for tomorrow.
Yeah. And where do you think Waterford's biggest strength is?
Obviously, their system. They play to a system. They know it so well. They've been doing it for 3 or 4 years. And they have actually... They're the one team that can match probably Galway physically. I think Cork wouldn't have had the strength. Like Galway's forwards tomorrow, I saw it today in the paper, there's 2 players 6'4", 3 players 6'2", and Conor Whelan is the smallest, and he's 6 foot. So
Don't be trying to intimidate all the poor Waterford.
But they can all hurl. They all can move. Often you have big players who are awkward who can't move, but these are all athletes and all slick hurlers as well, and very intelligent.
Would that make you nervous, Niamh, when you hear it? It sounds like back rowers they have there.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I'm quietly confident that our guys, I think, obviously the system that's been so, you know, out there, and be it positive or negative, has been massive. I think what stands to this squad is that they're hugely together. They have a brilliant ethos, the culture that they've bred into them. I think Derek took a lot of slack last year and the start of this year, and it seemed to have bound them together, and I think that speaks volumes of him and them as a group, and I think that they work incredibly hard for each other, and I think that's actually what's ultimately will get them over the line. I think when it gets to this level, there's very little difference in preparation and skill level, because they're at the pinnacle, and it'll be not even at who wants it the most, but some little extra edge. And I think that the fact that they rode in behind him and that they trusted in him and his system and they went wholeheartedly into it, I think that'll be a huge positive for them.
Niamh, like talking to Alan there, was a dual player and the commitment that would have taken. You're very familiar with that as well, combining your international rugby career with your career as a Garda.
Yeah, look, I've been very fortunate to have a huge support from them and it's been brilliant. But you learn very quickly what time management is, and there's not much time for anything else outside of that. You know, if you ask me what's on television after 9:30 at night, I'm in bed, so I don't get to see it. So, yeah, there's a lot of So you're talking early morning gym sessions and conditioning sessions to heading into work for a day and then back in to do another session. And these lads are the same. You know, I've quite close to a lot of them and I speak to them and their backroom staff and I know how hard they work. So, and look, it's the same for Galway too. You know, I see Joe's down and around in Camille in Limerick and that's our regular haunt because we can't really cook at home. So, I see how hard he works too and it's a given. But yeah, you do learn that amateur side. I think it's something that needs to be cherished and I think it gives it its brilliant nature.
Sean, when you commentate, like, would you be absolutely biased towards Galway?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, he said it earlier on.
Oh, jeez, no, you can't do that. And the first fella ever that told me that was Micheál O'Murchilty. And he told me, look, he says, I was very young, and he said, look, Sean, he says, if it's Kerry, it's the same to me against Kerry and all that. Can I tell you a quickie about Micheál? First I ever saw him commentating was in the early 70s down in Tulla, Galway and Clare in the league. And I often heard him and I said, Jesus, I'm beside Micheál, the king, you know. So anyways, here he goes. They were at some other match and he come over. And he says, welcome to Tulla, the score is this and the score is that. He said, and at the moment, he said, Pat O'Connor's gone up the field for Clare. He's 60, he's 50, he's 40, into his brother Enda ran right through. He's gone right through. He's gone past the goal. I thought he had the ball. He thought it himself. But he lost it 10 yards ago.
Jim, if Galway win tomorrow, that's the thing.